an account on cultivation of animal viruses. Viruses can grow only in living cells. However, the collection of viruses is possible nowadays. The most economical and convenient method of cultivating a wide variety of animal viruses is the chicken embryo technique. In this technique, fertile chicken eggs incubated for 5 to 12 days are inoculated with the virus particles through the shell aseptically. The opening may be sealed with paraffin wax. The eggs incubated at 36 degrees Celsius are ideal sources for the growth of viruses. Chick embryos contain several different types of cells in which various viruses will undergo replication. The yolk sac is a general ideal medium for the growth of viruses. Viral cultures are of three types: primary cell cultures, diploid cell strains, and continuous cell lines. Primary cell culture are derived from normal tissue of an animal such as mouse, hamster, chicken and monkey or a human being. When cells from these tissues are processed and cultured, the first monolayer is referred to as primary culture. The monolayer is a confluent layer of cells covering the surface of a culture vessel. Diploid cell strains are derived by primary cell cultures from a specific tissues like lung or kidney which is of embryonic origin. These diploid cells are the most employed host of choice for the production of human vaccine virus. Continuous cell lines are capable of an infinite number of doublings. Such cell lines may arise with the mutation of a cell strain or more commonly from the established cell cultures from malignant tissues. Many viruses which are difficult or impossible to grow have been cultured in continuous cell lines. Malaria, a major public health problem discussed. Malaria is a mosquito-borne disease caused by the protozoan Plasmodium. The life cycle of malarial parasite comprises two phases, namely asexual phase in man and the sexual phase in the female Anopheles mosquito. Four different types of malaria are recognized on the basis of period of recurrence of fever. They are tertian, benign tertian or vivax malaria caused by Plasmodium vivax, quartan malaria caused by Plasmodium malariae, mild tertian or ovale malaria caused by Plasmodium ovale, malignant tertian or pernicious malaria caused by Plasmodium falciparum. Of the four, malignant type is fatal. In malarial fever, the patient suffers from shaking, chills and sweating. As the chills subside, the body temperature may rise to 106 degrees Fahrenheit. The high fever is induced by the toxic hemozoin granules which are liberated in plasma when the parasite schizons burst out from the RBCs. The patient also suffers from severe anemia due to destruction of erythrocytes. Other symptoms are enlargement of spleen due to massive increase in the number of phagocytic cells of the lymphoid macrophage system. In the case of falciparum infection, thrombosis of visceral capillaries occurs. Death takes place when the capillaries of brain are plugged with both the parasites and the malarial pigment. Another very serious outcome of the falciparum infection is black water fever. It is characterized by the wholesome destruction of patients' erythrocytes and the excretion of liberated hemoglobin in the urine. Write an essay on pathogenicity of microorganisms and infections. Pathogenicity refers to the ability of microorganisms to cause the disease in animals and humans. Infectious diseases are more often results to the interactions between the disease-producing pathogenic microorganisms and host organisms. The pathogenic adaptations. Pathogenicity of the microbes is due to several phenomena or adaptations. Pathogens are able to selectively attach to the external surfaces such as skin and conjunctiva or the internal surfaces such as mucous membranes of the respiratory, gastrointestinal or urinogenital tract. They also penetrate the above body surfaces and gain access to the internal tissues. In some infections, the pathogen may remain localized, growing near its point of entry into the body. Some pathogens become widely distributed in different tissues or organs. This is called generalized infections. Some other pathogens can grow within the cells of host, causing severe disturbances to normal physiological process. Yet another group may grow extracellularly and bring damage to the body tissues by elaborating substances called toxins. The pathogenicity differs in different strains of pathogenic species. Some strains are highly virulent. In the case of virulent strains, only a few bacterial cells may suffice to cause disease in a host. On the contrary, other strains may be less virulent and a large number of cells may be needed to cause the disease. Some strains may be avirulent and they are incapable of causing the disease even when large number of cells are inoculated into the host. Such avirulent strains are called attenuated strains. These are widely used as vaccines to elicit the immunity.
Please subscribe our channel for more videos and